Good afternoon, dear Connie and fellow classmates. Do you have any friends that his parents are from Malay or Taiwan, but he can speak 3 different kinds of languages? Have you ever been to any country that you can finish traveling 3 times a day? What's the cleanest countries have you ever been to? Well, it's easy to guess that the country I mentioned above is Singapore. I'm Jane, and this is my partner, Melody. Today, we are going to give you a culture tour to this beautiful nation and to show you how big the culture the Singaporeans have created on this tiny piece of land, and to compare their lifestyle with in Singapore with Hong Kong. Here is a brief preview of our following presentation. Firstly, I will give you a short introduction on the background of both our interviewee and Singapore. Melody and I, in the following part, will give you a culture comparison between the Singapore and Hong Kong. Last but not least, Melody will show you some summary and a reflection between we enter the Q&A session. Here comes our interviewee's profile. This cute boy is our interviewee, whose name is Wilson, and he studied in the Singapore Management University. He likes swimming, eating, and from our observation, he's really open-minded, and he has great ability of observing the life, which makes him ideally fit in our topic of interview. Here comes the profile of the country. Singapore is just a tiny little dot on the world map. It's also the smallest country in the Southeast Asia. But never look down upon this tiny little dot, because I will show you some things that you may not know about Singapore. As we know that Singapore is one of the smallest countries in the world, it also has the second most populated nation. But it's the 5th wealthiest country in the world, with 8.5% of the population are millionaires, and this is the highest percentage in the world. Besides, because Singaporeans are crazy of keeping people alive forever, so they designed the most advanced healthcare infrastructure. This is very interesting because many presidents or the royals of other countries may skip in this country secretly for a body check. So that's why we say the healthcare system even beat Obama's care model. Last, this phenomenon is very common in Singapore because they have beaches, many beautiful beaches, but you cannot sunbathe topless, and this is banned. It's quite ridiculous, but this is the real Singapore. Now let's move to the main part, education. Wilson told us that the Singapore designed most intensive courses, and the students are quite grade-driven. This is the truth, and it's not exaggerated saying, because according to the statistics, Singapore got the most crook-bagged kids. What do I mean by crook-bagged? Because they wear the overpacked, cramped backpacks cramped with the textbooks. An intensive education system make the Singaporean student one of the most miserable students, but they also successfully cultivate the most smartest student in the world. While I say that grade is very crucial, but of equal importance is the development of personality and true literalization of what you have learned. Now let's move away from the serious subtopic. Let's talk about sports. What do you think is the most popular sports in Singapore? Basketball, F1 Formula, or ice hockey? There's a very interesting phenomenon that in Singapore, among all the ball games, the most popular ones are the games that play with small balls. What do I mean by small balls? It's the tennis, squash, table tennis, and badminton that play with small balls. Because the Asians, they are very short, so they may not be good at hand-to-hand fight like what they play in basketball. But Asians are very flexible, so they did good jobs in the sports play with small balls. You may argue by saying that, okay, come on, the Singaporeans also play good soccer. They really like soccer. Okay, I like to say because Singapore was once the British colony, which makes some such kind of influence. Now let me invite Melody to give you more information.
Thank you. So, for the political affairs, actually Singapore is run in a majority of one-party system, and according to Wilson, he said that Singapore is democratic, but on the other hand, it is also autocratic. What means? democratic is where people can vote, and Singapore there is a high degree of censorship. That means people are not allowed to speak anything which is good to the government because of its high efficiency. And as we all know, Singapore is a fine city, which means by people are not allowed to chew gum, drink even plain water on trains, litter, and speed, etc. So there is also mandatory death sentence in Singapore for people who do drug traffic and murder somebody, etc. Due to the above political affairs, all Singaporeans are so well behaved. So you may also want to know that the first impression on Hong Kong people by the Singaporean. Wilson said that he thinks Hong Kong people is aggressive and more initiative than Singaporean. He also thinks that Hong Kong people is so elderly that they usually queue up on trains, and in short, he thinks Hong Kong people is nice, but they usually speak Cantonese so fast, so he cannot listen well. For the entertainment, Wilson always have a high tea in cafe in Hyatt Regency, which is near the Chinese University. And as same as us, he also liked to stroll in the festival walk, and he always watch movies in cinema. But he expressed that the fare of the movie is more expensive in Hong Kong because $35 is the normal price in Singapore. So, for the eating style, Wilson said that he thinks the Hong Kong food is nice, but it is very different from Singapore's. He loved to eat peeled prawns and dim sum and also wonton, but he thinks that the wonton is really different from those in Singapore because we usually add the shrimp in the wonton in Hong Kong, but in Singapore, the cook usually adds the barbecue pork meat in the wonton, and the people usually add more flavor in the wonton when they just enjoy this food. So, such as they usually they will add the ketchup in wonton and so on. So for the fashion, he thinks that Hong Kong people are so trendy, and the fashion is similar to Singapore. Hong Kong people is similar to Singaporean about the brand consciousness. They also like to wear the branded bags such as LV, Gucci, etc. And they also like shopping and makeup. However, on the other hand, Hong Kong people is different from Singapore because of the weather climate. There is always summer in Singapore, and the temperature ranges from 28 to 35 all the year round. So to conclude, here's our reflection. We really learned a lot through this interview, and for example, we learned about the Singaporean cultures such as the popular sports, their education, and also their eating style, and so on. We practice our English and also the interviewing skills learned in the lessons, such as we recognize that the interview is an interactive process, and we should listen patiently and actively and give response also. But here is still room for our improvement. So this is the end of our presentation. Thank you.